Hi, I think that I am live. This is Di, the bass playing mom, playing with my ears. We are here today to talk about the movie that's based around music. Yes, it is The Blues Brothers. Now, do we have anybody here? That's what I can't see. So let me get this back to the right spot. We have this banner that says Blues Brothers. Back to the comments. Nope, I can't see anybody's comments or see if anybody is on, and I don't know why. That's annoying. There's people! Vicky's here, Uncle Yukon. Okay, so I need to test. Guys, do we have okay sound? And do you see me? That would be great to know. Yay, Vicky, I'm glad you're here. Hi, Uncle Yukon. Now I know your name. I'm glad you're here. I don't know how long our leg is. I'm going at 4:20. So hopefully, oh, yay, Joel's here. You can see the comments, all two of them. Yay, sounds good, video's good. Excellent. Well, we are going to talk about one of my all-time favorite movies, The Blues Brothers. Why are we talking about it? Because it is a movie about music. And since we all watch movies, whether you're a musician or not, this could be relevant to you. But if you are a musician, there are some awesome musicians in this movie. And so that's going to be really relevant. We're going to have lots to talk about. I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the comments. And we have a special guest, my first guest. That is why we are using StreamYard today instead of OBS, because we are going to have a guest. And in order to have a guest, I needed to make it super low tech on myself. So that's why we're on StreamYard, because I needed low tech. How is everybody feeling today? It's a strange time in our world, developments by the minute, and we will see how this all ties together. There's going to be some links back to last week's stream, and we're going to talk about what we're going to do next week. I am off for the holiday. I will be off for the 4th of July holiday. Will not be streaming next week, but we'll pick it up in 2 weeks. But there will be a new video coming out this week. It is going to be about round wound strings, which are strings that, you know, are round, versus flat strings, flat wound strings. So that's what we'll be talking about. World is strange, muddling through best I can. Vicky says, I totally get that. All right, so I have to push the buttons here. Let's see. I'm going to pull this banner, and we're going to go to the names. And now to introduce my special guest here to talk to us about the movie The Blues Brothers. Do you guys have any guesses who our guest could be today? Somebody that's not in the comments. So I'm going to be super disappointed in you, Vicky. Let me guess, you haven't watched The Blues Brothers. Well, you're going to want to after you have all the spoilers. All right, so here is our guest. I am going to unmute him and put him on screen. And look who it is. Joel's got it. Caleb. Hey, Caleb, welcome.
Hola. Hey, Joel. Hey, Vicky. Hey, Grandma.
So, Caleb, I would like you to meet Uncle Yukon. His real name is Tom. I found that out today. He lives south of Seattle, and he has, I think, a Siberian Husky. So, Mr. Blue himself. Yes, Dan Aykroyd is our guest. Yeah, not quite. But, yeah, he's really great, and he's super supportive, and he's my age. So, there you go. Right. So, we have a mixed group here, that's for sure. Oh, Grandma's number one grandson.
Hi, Tom, or Uncle Yukon.
Well, now you're related to like everyone who's in the chat, because your grandmother's in the chat. My best friend Vicky's in the chat. Joel, of course, who's definitely a family member, and Uncle Yukon. So it will usually pick up here after a few minutes. We usually spend a little bit of time lollygaggling while folks get on, but I am so beside myself to talk about this movie. Caleb?
Me too. Let me grab my notes. I forgot. I thought like this test was going to be a lot quicker. So
yes,
I'm going to go grab my notes.
Okay, I'm muting Caleb. So we went to do a test to see if I could run my slides before it, and it failed miserably. And then Caleb's The audio was weird. We just barely got in here. Oh, sorry, I can't see you, Vicky. Let me see. If I send you the link, I can have a third person, but I don't know if you really want to be part of the live stream. This will be recorded for all infamy. But all right, Caleb, did you get what you needed? Oh, nope, he doesn't have headphones on. I guess he's going to need that. Back to muting him. This is my first time having a guest, so the fact that we've had a few little hiccups technology-wise is not shocking news.
Yeah, we did tests yesterday, and it all went well. So then, of course, today is where it doesn't. But
I really wanted to be able to play before show slides, but oh, now see, my bases aren't in the shot. I have to move this way. I decorated them for the 4th of July. Can you be like really, really super seasonal that you're decorating your bases? Let's see. Let's talk to you. I saw a test when I checked in to see if you're started. Ah, good. Yeah, there were lots of tests. So many tests. Yeah, well, it's the first time doing this. Now, we have some options here. You've got us full screen. You can also do this if that's what you needed in your life. But I don't know about this background. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Kind of leaves and things, just strange. But anyway, let's get on task. Let's talk about the Blues Brothers. I can't wait to talk about this movie. It, of course, stars Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. We did a little chat yesterday about some personalities there. Obviously, John Belushi was gone too soon, but we can dive into Dan Aykroyd's personality a little bit.
Yeah. Someone like John Landis needs to reel that guy in to make amazing movies.
Yes, John Landis was the director on this movie. Caleb, do you know any other John Landis movies? I don't know.
Was it The Muppets, John Landis?
Oh, well, Frank Oz is in this movie, so that would make sense.
Frank Oz is in it.
From The Muppets.
John Landis directed Thriller.
Oh, yeah.
I think he did American Teen and Werewolf in London or whatever. Teen Werewolf or whatever. I think that's John Landis. He likes those creature effects.
Yeah. There are no creature effects in this movie.
No. Demolished building.
All the effects, I mean, almost all the effects in this movie are practical effects too, right? Mm-hmm. There's no like CGI or anything.
There's a little bit of visual effects with like the light in the chapel. I'm assuming it's some sort of like layer they put on.
That's true.
Some sort of trickery with the film stock.
Yeah.
I think everything else, they literally dropped that car like from the sky.
Isn't that so cool? Oh yeah, Joel's mentioning that Ghostbusters was by John Landis, which makes sense because it was yet another Dan Aykroyd movie that was supposed to be with John Belushi, I believe, but he had passed away by then. And Tom was talking about his dog getting scared on the 4th. So his thing is to close up the house and keep it as quiet as he can. I think there's going to be a lot of illegal fireworks this year since the regular fireworks were banned. Because there's no fireworks show because people would congregate together and breathe on each other.
Got it.
So Vicky says he did the black and white video for Michael Jackson. Oh, with morphing faces. That was real special effects. Yeah.
That's digital special effects.
That was a big deal then too, because nobody had ever seen that.
And it was really well done. Really well done.
I believe Vicky and I saw the premiere of Thriller at her house. I didn't have cable TV yet, and she did. So I would go hang out in her basement, and we'd watch hours and hours of music videos. Oh, Coming to America, Three Amigos, Beverly Hills Cops movies. Wow, he did a lot of movies.
Yeah. He was huge in the 80s.
Huge. So I heard today the story about how the Blues Brothers came to be. Do you know that, Caleb?
No, but I take it somewhere in Saturday Night Live.
Previous to Saturday Night Live. The first time Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi met, Dan Aykroyd started talking about rhythm and blues music. And so he started talking about all this music and trying to get John into it. And John was like, Oh, I don't know. But Dan Aykroyd's like, you're from Chicago. You have to be into rhythm and blues music. and the Blues Brothers were born before they were cast on SNL, I believe, at their first meeting.
Oh, okay.
So, if you want to look at the timeline a little bit, it starts with them meeting, then the SNL sketch, then the album, then the movie, then the second movie, and then the House of Blues. I didn't realize the House of Blues came out of the Blues Brothers movies. And so they've got like 13 venues.
Oh, dang. Nice.
So when Dan Aykroyd wants you to know something like about rhythm and blues music, he's going to make sure that you know it.
Yeah, no, he's like a calm, I think that's sort of the movie is kind of calm crazy. Like there's lots of insane stuff happening, but the reactions are so quiet.
Oh, that's true.
And casual. Dan Aykroyd's like a crazy person, but he's calm and it's like he's very frank and he's gonna just tell you the things. You're gonna know the things.
I think he's a little what was I gonna say? Like I wouldn't use impervious. Almost like a superhero.
Okay.
Where like the car did get destroyed in all of this, they didn't get destroyed in all of it. I mean, there were flamethrowers and bombs and everything, and they always come out of it like a superhero in a cartoon.
No, I wrote that down. That there's some serious Bugs Bunny vibes going on. Especially with the like a lot of the policemen or troopers, they're brandishing weapons the entire time. They have like giant rifles that they just have out and ready at all time at any given moment. And it's like, geez, that's at first it seems frightening, but at the same time it's kind of cartoony too.
It is. Uncle Yukon is asking why the Blues Brothers 2000 happened.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I would think it came because Dan Aykroyd wrote the original manuscript for the Blues Brothers movie, and it was a tome. I mean, it was dictionary size, right? I mean, he actually put the Yellow Pages cover on it. Yeah. I mean, the phone book. It was as big as a phone book, and so I imagine that was all unused material from the original script because John Landis, when he rewrote it, had to cut everything out because it was too big.
I'm guessing that John Landis did not direct Blues Brothers 2000. I guessing.
I have not seen Blues Brothers 2000, maybe ever. However, the DVD that I bought came with 2000 and the regular Blues Brothers on it. So eventually I could see it, but we won't be reviewing that movie. That's not going to happen. So, okay, we've gotten through my first 4 sentences of notes.
Okay, John Landis did direct it. So
he did.
I don't know why Blues Brothers 2000 came out like it did. But,
It's so much unused material, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to talk about the movie from the start? You guys, are you ready? Have you guys all seen the movie? Do I need to be worrying about spoilers? Please let me know down below in the comments. Like, did you see this movie? Have you not seen this movie? I have no idea. All right.
All right.
So we start out in the first scene. We're at Joliet, the correctional facility, which must be near Chicago. I have a Chicago expert that usually jumps on. She must be detained. Anyway.
For real? Like from the protests?
Vicky said she was bored watching the Blues Brothers. Oh my gosh. You did not know what you were watching. You know, movies though, that was from 1980. So it's a 40-year-old movie. It's going to be really paced a lot differently than regular movies.
And keep in mind, like, kind of the idea of the Blues Brothers is that they're very calm during insane situations. So the filmmaking matches that as well, and the pacing of the movie matches that as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess maybe it's different if you haven't memorized the entire script.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched it when I was a kid. It was like my favorite movie.
Yeah, it was Caleb's favorite. That's why Caleb is our guest today, because this was his favorite movie as a child. And after rewatching it, I was like, really? I let you watch it with that language? I
never even noticed.
I know. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Joliet Correction Center gave me some flashbacks. Mom, you want to chime in about why a correctional facility would seem familiar to me? Not for the usual reason. I didn't spend any time in prison. However, I spent my childhood visiting a prison. My mom and my dad were part of an outreach to inmates in the prison, and they would pack up me and my sister and take us to the Monroe Correctional Facility. It's called Twin Rivers, and it's outside of Seattle. And we would go there and visit an inmate, and that inmate and all of the inmates were dressed. Yes, we did volunteer work. That's a nice way of saying it. I was not worried about ever going to prison, did not intimidate me at all as a child, just seemed like a normal thing people do.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you weird when you're a kid going to visit inmates. But they did wear the like the double denim, like the light blue shirt with the denim dungaree pants. They were almost like mom jeans. They're really kind of high rise that you see in the movie. Like that's absolutely what everyone wore at Monroe. Now at Purdy, because we would go to the women's prison, they were allowed to wear whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
But at Monroe, that's what they wore.
So you're visiting prison inmates, you weren't just going to like the county jail or anything.
No, like hardened criminals. It was
Nice.
kind of, I think it was like a mentoring program, and it was a reward for good behavior. So we were probably just seeing people in on drug charges, I would imagine. Mom, you can fill me in. I don't know. But it's a weird childhood memory. Me and my sister getting dressed up to go hang out. We were in the talent show at the women's prison. They had a talent show and we were in it. We sang on a little teapot. It was awesome.
Sounds very like Australian.
I will be on stage the rest of my life. That was worth it. Anyway, so that's where we start. And of course, that's where we first meet their new vehicle.
Well, hey. They never show Johnny Belushi's face. Can I say some things? I'm probably making comments. So the establishing shot, it looks like an apocalyptic wasteland Chicago does in the establishing shot of the movie.
Yeah.
The sun is like orange and hazy, like Apocalypse Now. And then and they never show John Belushi's face until he is fully dressed in the Blues Brothers getup and is outside of the jail, of the prison.
And I totally skipped over him picking up his personal belongings.
Yeah,
which probably Vicky thought was paced entirely too slowly. Of him slowly and it was Frank Oz picking each item out, but each item was so hysterically funny.
Yeah.
You
need time to laugh, and also the pacing's supposed to be slow there, and that's kind of part of the joke.
Yes.
Is the monotony of it.
What I loved was the yellow lines on the floor that he had to stand like 6 feet back, because
yeah.
we're all standing on yellow lines right now in the quarantine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't write his name. He just signed an X.
Really?
Yeah. He couldn't write a signature.
I didn't know
and at least
that.
that one item was icky. Yes, it was. Anyway, so
like, why was that there? They would just throw that away. That's not going to be part of your personal belongings. I've been to jail. They're not going to keep that as part of your personal belongings.
No, I mean, what else are we going to have? Like a dead rat and missing a shoelace, I believe. Yeah. So, okay. So then he gets to leave the prison and he goes out to the car. And what car has... Okay, so he's Jake, Elwood. What car has Elwood brought to pick him up?
He picked up a real nice vehicle, the police auction, a police car.
Caleb, how many times did I try to convince you to buy a police car as one of your next vehicles?
I don't want one.
I want him to get a police car so good.
No, because I hate police cars on the road.
I know. No, but they
control you.
They have a great suspension.
Yeah, I can go flying over bridges.
Doesn't that always remind you of the bridge when you're by the University of Washington over the Montlake Cut? There's a bridge that does that. And every time I'm thinking, I just want to fly over this thing. And I almost missed it this time when I watched it, but when John Belushi, Jake Elwood, he lights his cigarette on the cigarette lighter, like cars don't have anymore, but he throws it out the window because he hates the car. And then once they fly over the bridge, then Elwood convinces him that it's a great car, and he's like, "Yeah, you gotta get the cigarette lighter fixed."
No. He says, "I fixed the cigarette lighter," because he just busted out his lighter.
Yeah, I thought he told him to fix the cigarette lighter because now it was busted.
No, he's like, I think he said, "I fixed the cigarette lighter." That's what he said.
Oh, I thought he said you got to fix the cigarette lighter. Do you have anything else from that section?
No, I think that's it.
It was the 95th Street Bridge in Chicago that they flew over. You can see the Sears Tower, and I saw, drawbridge. A 1978 Dodge Monaco, I think.
Because it was the cops. They say, "There goes that crap Dodge," or something like that.
Not no, it's mobile.
There goes that Dodge dumpster or something like that. The cop says something mean about the car when he sees crap out. They
pan the shot of the Sears Tower and the skyline. And I watched a video where a guy went and panned shots of all the same places, and it looks exactly the same. Or like if you did Seattle 40 years ago, it'd be completely different skyline. Completely. But not Chicago. Oh, and Mom, I'm drinking out of my Seattle mug. I realized that when you went to Chicago, you didn't buy me a Chicago mug. I need a Chicago mug for this episode.
Uncle Yukon's got he's corrected me. I misheard what was said.
Is that the same bridge from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Joel wants to know.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
No, I doubt it, because where's Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Chicago.
Oh, okay, it might be.
It might be. Hey, Joel, have you seen that they had a script reading of Ferris Bueller's Day Off? That I think it went out today on YouTube. I watched it today because they've been getting these castable movies together and having them read from the scripts. That's been like a thing since COVID, and they did Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I just watched it. It was pretty good. Let me see. It was history. I watched too much YouTube. It was Ferris Bueller's Day Off Reunited with Josh Gad. What? No, I must watch. Yes, you must watch. Okay, because we're talking about Chicago. All right. Second scene. St. Helen of the Blessed Shroud Orphanage.
Yeah. I don't understand why Vicky was bored, because as soon as that started, I was just busting it. Like the church, that whole scene, I'm just laughing the whole time.
You don't know how many people I've met who said, I was afraid to ever visit a Protestant church of any kind because I thought it was going to be just like the scene in the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
Every Protestant church ever. I thought that was pretty funny. You know, John Landis's thing was with the choreographer. He and the choreographer weren't going to hire any actual dancers for the movie. They were only going to have real people dancing so that it seemed more organic during the musical numbers. But obviously, he hired dancers after they shot it. Yeah, it was pretty bad. The first one that they shot without real dancers, and they decided that's it.
I think during the Ray Charles bit, there's like kids dancing, and they're doing surprisingly well. So I think that's the only one where they probably have mostly real people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, but back at the orphanage, that's when they find out from the nun that they need to raise $5,000, and she's disgusted with them that they become. What did she say they become? I forget.
It's basically like foul-mouthed thieves with bad attitudes.
I love the bad attitudes.
The bad attitudes.
The best part.
And then she. And while the door closes.
How the doors close by themselves.
Yeah.
But that's when they became on a mission from God, which was actually John Landis's addition to the script, because he felt like that was Dan Aykroyd's attitude about the entire script.
Yeah. John Landis is a crazy person. I mean, Dan Aykroyd's a crazy person, but he's like, very focused. Very focused.
Yes. So yes, on a mission from God. So they have to raise $5,000.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Never last once the entire movie. I think I saw it for the first time in the wrong time, wrong place. I smiled during a few of the musical numbers, but I had to force myself to finish watching. I don't know what movie you were watching, Vicki.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right. So
because I was dying. I watched this today, and I was done, and just myself with a laptop, and I was dying laughing during the that church scene, or the mission scene.
Mission scene.
So it was just, I don't know, over serious religion, I guess, is really funny to me. Over the top. Yeah.
So the next scene is Cab Calloway. So the penguin has sort of been their mom since they were raised in an orphanage, and Cab Calloway has sort of been their dad. Right? So that explains why their cultural appropriation, that they think that they're African-American blues performers, even though they're two white kids from an orphanage, right?
Yeah, but they're two white kids from an orphanage, kind of half raised by a black guy, Cab freaking Calloway. And also, when they show the kids in the orphanage, it's like, it's a sprinkle, it's half white, half black, like the group of kids. Like,
it's a mixed group of kids, yeah. So then they're at the Triple Rock Baptist Church, which is what my friends thought all Protestant churches were like.
I would much prefer if that were true.
So it was sort of one of Dan Aykroyd's things, was to get Cab Calloway and to get now we have James Brown, to get these people on film so that their performances aren't lost forever. And so, now that a lot of them have passed, you realize how important that was.
Well, we have a lot of Cab Calloway performances on film. There are a lot
of him, yeah,
of him during his prime,
cool.
Just killing it. I think actually Betty Boop. There's a Betty Boop Snow White where there's like this dancing ghost with long legs, and it's actually rotoscoped. They took a Cab Calloway recording and rotoscoped the dance moves onto the giant tall ghost character. So he's even got animation of him out there too. I think probably James Brown, there's probably a lot less. It's probably mostly audio for him. Yeah. There's a lot of old Cab Calloway videos.
I think he did more after this. He liked being in this movie, so he's in more movies after it. So James Brown, and then Shaka Khan was one of the members of the choir. They got her cast and then had to figure out where to put her, but she's Catholic, so she had never been to a Protestant church before and had no idea how to act. So I thought that was kind of funny. And that's the James Cleveland Choir with them, and they did the song "The Old Landmark." So that was the song they did. Yeah.
I think that scene alone with James Brown is the reason I don't like white church. I'm just like, what are we doing? Discount U2? Well, you could be doing this awesome gospel music instead.
Oh well, yeah. Adam Neely takes that position as well, and I don't disagree. I mean, I loved. I got to go to Black Church when I was in North Carolina, and that was really fun. And I got to go once down here, but that was more of a hip hop thing. Yeah. At the beginning of hip hop. Go ahead.
This is getting a little bit tangential, but like my thing is, if you're surrendering to like a spiritual experience, my personal experience would tell me that I would relate a lot more to, that sort of church than like more like white church that kind of I was raised in. Like that kind of music. To me, like that kind of music, I have almost no relation to. Like I don't feel it or anything. But like gospel music, I totally feel that. Yeah. Call Yukon. White churches are too serious.
Yeah, I mean there are really, really serious white churches.
Yeah, but I think for me, if I'm submitting to a greater force, that force is going to be running through me, and there's going to be a lot more energy actually exhibited. It's just that you kind of don't, it doesn't feel like a strain.
Yeah, there's a more call and response in Black church, so that when the preacher says something, people in the audience say things back, and which is actually a little more Catholic to have call and response. And then also the music numbers are more punctuated, so they're like in response to what's being said, or in response to what's happening in the service. And so I think that that's it's more interactive, and so it's a little different experience. Which is probably more like Catholic churches than it is like, Black church probably has more in common with Catholic church than with white church. Protestant white church. All right. It's an interesting time to be discussing such things. Yeah. There are some things in this movie, that's for sure. The next scene we have is them riding in the car. They listen to Soothe Me Baby and Hold On I'm Coming by Sam and Dean. And it is where our first car chase begins, our first interaction with police. There were guards at the prison, but this is our first interaction with the police.
Oh, okay. Oh, when they get pulled over? Like at night? That one? Near the funeral home?
Yeah. They get pulled over at night, and he's bummed. Dan Aykroyd's character, Elwood, is bummed because they actually ran a background check on him. They had a computer in the car, which in 1980 was pretty early. You noticed it was the black screen with the amber typing.
I've been reading Mouse, which is a graphic novel about the Nazis in the early 40s during the World War II, and I was noticing how like record keeping and record taking and record checking is very important for the Nazis, and they're very good at it. And I was like, oh, the SMOTs? Is that the system? It was the SMOTs.
Oh, he's ahead of you.
Anagram SMODs. That's what it was.
I love that.
Like, okay. I don't know. There's something about it that I was just like, oh, that's both futuristic and kind of fascist too.
Yeah.
Very fascist to have these records on everything, and yeah. There's kind of this war between the mechanics in the movie, like the mechanical world versus the like more human world in a way throughout the movie.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it's just that criminal background check being more complete. A bunch of them got kind of updated like 10 years ago. All of a sudden the computer caught up, and a bunch of the foster parents that I work with suddenly were not licensable because of stuff that happened 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago that didn't come up on their background checks before and suddenly came up.
Dang.
Yeah, they had to like submit letters and try to keep their foster care licenses. And so, yeah, kind of Big Brothers. KJ Chicago's in the house. Woo! We have a Chicago expert.
There we go.
Hey, KJ Chicago, welcome. I was looking for you because we were talking about the 95th Street Bridge. That's pretty much exactly the same now, isn't it? But yes, now we are at scene number 6, if you're ready, Caleb, which is they begin to be chased by the police and decide the only way to go is through a shopping mall.
Yeah.
KJ Chicago, you share with me what the name of that mall is? It's closed still, right? It's just a bunch of weeds and overgrown stuff still. And it was a closed mall when they decided to shoot in it. And they actually, best part of the movie, they had, what was I going to say? Pier 1 and Toys R Us and a couple other stores, JCPenney. And they had a bunch of stores that have gone out of business. Pier 1 is going bankrupt right now. That they got those involved so that they could actually dress the fronts. But they had the stuff they were allowed to hit and the stuff they weren't. And some of the cars in the parking lot were from Oldsmobile. So they couldn't hit some of the new Oldsmobiles. They had to avoid the new cars.
I noticed that they were calling out like every store, every name, every brand name. They were name dropping the whole.
They were name dropping the whole time, which is so funny because they were driving through, running everything over, and hitting kiosks and all that.
Mall has everything.
This mall has everything. It's the Dixie Mall in Harvey, Illinois. Wow. Did you guys just?
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just can't sorry, Vicky, if I'm just calling you out the whole time, but I can't imagine not laughing. Like, it's basic. Like, there's a lot of comedy that's just solid, basic comedy. Like, he's holding up Grover. And, yeah,
they're in early this year.
He's holding up, this guy's holding up the Grover, and he's like, "Do you have Miss Piggy?" And then the car busts through. You know, I mean, that's just great.
Oh,
that's great.
And is Miss Piggy a throwback to Frank Oz? Does he do Miss Piggy? Because Frank Oz was earlier in the movie. I didn't even think about the whole Muppet connection there.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Connection.
More Muppet connections.
More Muppet connections. Yep, the new Oldsmobiles are early this year. Kevin and I, in our pre-talk about this, talked a little bit about what stood the test of time and what didn't. Cigarette lighters, not so much. Police overreacting at a traffic stop, yes. Oldsmobiles, no. And JCPenney is not doing awesome. They're okay, but Toys R Us is gone, and now Pier 1 is going through
Toys R Us is gone?
Toys R Us is gone.
No.
There's no such thing.
I only just started reading the news the last like 2 months, so.
Yeah, anything going on? No.
Last month, honestly.
Yeah, well, some of it, I mean, obviously the Oldsmobiles did not stand the test of time. And also, I'm thinking that the humor in this movie is more like the humor in The Office than it is like the humor on, let's say, Friends. Right? Because it's not shot exactly like your regular movies, and the humor in it is the dry humor like you get on The Office.
It's shot almost like a Kubrick movie, honestly. You have these giant shots where you see everything, and it's almost like they're just communicating the raw data, but it's really you have a lot of big shots that hold for a while, and it's it's very cinematic, but it's the humor is a little bit less like surface level. Like it's more like, that they are, trying to cause a ruckus, or that they're not buying the BS of whatever. There's sort of like there's this subtext to it the whole time, which makes it funny. Yeah.
Yes. Kubrick's one of Loki. Steve's here. Loki the Siberian is my friend Steve. He lives in, I think, Alberta, Canada, and obviously has a Siberian Husky. If you haven't noticed a trend, there's a lot of Huskies. All right, so the music while they're going through the mall. Mm-hmm. What was the music while they were going through the mall?
No, it was just the da 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 da,
which is called the opener. I Can't Turn You Loose is the opener, and you guys played that in your band. In jazz band or in pep band?
Jazz band, I think.
Oh yeah, you played it at the beginning of your shows.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, did you ever have any long concerts?
Yeah, were our jazz nights like 6 hours or something?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
6 hours?
Grandma and Vicky got subjected to that. 6 hours.
I had no perception of time. I was in school.
6 hours. Can't Turn You Loose. See?
Now I'm an adult. Yeah, Can't Turn You Loose. Yeah.
Okay. So the next scene, we got out of the mall. They play the Peter Gunn theme, and that's when we're introduced to Carrie Fisher being in the movie. She lived 1956 to 2016. Mm-hmm. So, Carrie Fisher, man. It kind of makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss her. Like as if we were close friends.
Yeah, I never personally knew her, so it's hard for me to.
I get attached to people that I see on the internet or in the movies or whatever. Especially if I like their personality. Like I'll go find all the Carrie Fisher interviews and watch them because they're so funny. She would bring her, for my dog people, she would bring her dog to interviews and have it on, just like I'm here with Caleb, she would be with her dog in an interview, and they would cut to the dog's reaction to what she was saying in interviews, like on the Today Show or whatever. It was awesome. It was the best thing ever. And the dog would be like this, some pug-faced dog with a tongue hanging out. Oh, talking about who the mayor was. Yeah, I can't believe that the mayor of Chicago put up with the filming of that movie.
Yeah, no, the movie seems to like the people of the city, but not the establishment of it so much.
Oh, I'm pixelating.
You're pixelating.
Oh man, I don't know why I'm pixelating. I don't have anything. Nothing changed.
No.
Darn it.
Other than that, we're alive now. That's
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can see if Dad's on the Wi-Fi downstairs.
Yeah.
He might be. Okay, Caleb, can you why don't you talk about Elwood's apartment?
Oh, the apartment.
His tiny house.
It's tiny. It's like 10 feet by 6 feet. But yeah, no, they go in there. There's a bunch of homeless people in the lobby, and one of them asks for Cheese Whiz from Elwood. So somehow there's some sort of relation he has with the homeless people too. Just doing favors for them. Yeah, it's a bed-sized room. Yeah, I think they could fit 2 beds in there. 2 tiny cots like the one they got in there. Oh my gosh. Loki dropping facts. Yeah. I mean, it's, tail end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. Yeah. I bet it was difficult to reel everyone in. Yeah. I can't even imagine why Chicago would be okay with them making that movie. But yeah. No, but the apartment is where I started noticing that Elwood actually does just constantly eat bread the whole movie. Like, constantly. It was on Buren Street where the CTA Chicago Transit Authority L train passed by. So that's actually like a proper location. Dang. Yeah, I was wondering about that. But yeah, no. And then Elwood has to sleep on a chair near the window. Okay, we're back.
Am I pixelating? There was nothing going on downstairs. Am I pixelating still?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
It might be a Sunday evening, everyone's home and using up the bandwidth in the neighborhood.
It might be. Yeah. The L is cool. The overhead trains.
Yeah.
I want to see that someday. I was supposed to go to Chicago in June. I was going to go to Chicago for PetCon and to go out and see. Dan was going to be out there and Jess was going to be out there, and actually Dan's wife Crystal's brother Jason lives out there, and I was going to go out and see everybody, and of course it got canceled.
Yeah.
So there goes my trip to Chicago. But eventually I'll make it to Chicago. I really want to see the L because of so many scenes on ER that were shot there. Anyway, so his tiny house meets its demise.
Yeah.
Right. Did you talk about that yet?
I haven't gone. I wanted to stay away from talking about plot. I was just talking about the scenery mostly.
Oh, I was going to talk about the effects of the imploding their building, and that they climb back out from the bricks, and there's like the Foley, I think, isn't it called? What's it called when you make the sound effects back in the studio? The sound of the bricks falling off of them. The Foley was great on that.
Yeah, those clay sounds, like the clay hitting each other. Those sounds are great.
Yes.
It sounded like clay, like chips or like smaller rocks kind of hit.
Yeah, I love that sound effect.
They're real nice sounds. But dude, Carrie Fisher blows up the building, and there are a bunch of homeless people in the lobby, and I think that they are dead. And my heart sank when I saw the building explode because I'm like, oh God, there's a bunch of people dying.
But then I remember I was at the Blues Brothers movie, and that no one dies in this movie. Everybody survives everything. It's like Home Alone.
It's like a cartoon filmed super straight. if that makes sense. Like they took a cartoon and filmed it like a cinematic Kubrick movie. Yeah. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, because Jake and Elwood, exactly.
Looney Tunes. They made like a Looney Tunes movie, but like filmed it very seriously.
When they climbed out of the rubble, you knew everybody climbed out of the rubble. So Caleb, don't worry.
Yeah, they Loki is saying they open the doors and they just fall off. Jake and Elwood just carry on like nothing happens. Yeah, and then the next shot when Carrie blows up the building, the doors are back.
Yeah, I noticed that. The fall-off doors were back, but I was thinking maybe they were leaned to the sides. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. That was the next morning.
Yeah.
So then they go to that boarding house looking for the band. I thought it was weird that, well, I know that the entire script was Dan Aykroyd was going to have a script where they picked up each member of the band at different locations. That was going to be like the entire script. Like half the movie was just picking up band members. And so this part to me felt like something that could have ended up on the cutting room floor.
Okay.
I don't know why they filmed at that one lady's house, except for so she could give them the card so that they could find them at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I was thinking it felt very video game side quest like, where you're just kind of exchanging information or things with characters from one place to another and getting kind of guided through this mission quest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I imagine that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then they go to the Holiday Inn to find Murph and the Magic Tones. Mm-hmm. Which is how we pick up like 5 band members at once, so that we don't have that whole movie of just picking up band members from where they are now.
Yeah, being efficient with your storytelling is not a bad thing. Especially in a visual medium that's supposed to only last like an hour and a half and ended up lasting like 2 hours at least. It's a 2-hour comedy.
You see Grandma Loves Chicago and they chat. Yeah. My mom wants to go when I go out for PetCon next year when they have it. But she says she's not going to PetCon. She doesn't want to go see all the animals. She wants to do real things.
Yeah.
In Chicago.
Yeah. KJ's saying that we should go because we'll like it. I want to go. I'm saving up money for a Prius and then I'm probably going on a road trip across America.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I saw a video of a girl and her boyfriend they were traveling in a Civic and they had figured out how to make a bed in the back to actually have a bed to sleep on and how to shower inside the Civic. I will have to show you that before you go on your trip.
Wow. Yeah, no, yeah. I've seen, there are people who are, the internet's letting us do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Making it really easy.
All right, so let's see. So they get to the Holiday Inn and the band that's playing is Murph and the Magic Tones. All of their stuff is covered in red fur, all their instruments and everything. The band is Steve, the Colonel Cropper, Murph Dunn, who was the head of the band, Donald Duck Dunn, who's the bass player, Willie Two Big Hall, Tom Bones Malone. And they aren't really, they play just a little part of a song, but then they put an album on and it's Don't Go Changin'.
Yeah. Billy Joel, right?
Yeah.
But it's an arrangement of it. It's an instrumental arrangement of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they're just showing how cheesy the freaking act that the venue they're at is. How cheesy the gig is. Because like that song's so cheesy. I love you just the way you are, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Not Don't Go Changing. It's
I love you just the way. The first line is Don't Go Changing.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that song personally. I think it sounds really great, but the lyrics are real cheesy and I don't agree with them because you should let people change because that's you should be a great conduit for it if you're a good partner. Is change and personal growth. And I think that telling someone not to change because you love them just the way you are is kind of like, hey, stay the same person forever because my needs are more important than yours.
Maybe the movie was trying to shine the light on the authenticity of the rhythm and blues music versus the sort of sappy something you'd write in a yearbook.
That's what I think. I think that's
good. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that in depth. I thought it was just funny. Vicky wouldn't think it was funny, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. As soon as I think I appreciate the movie a lot more as a musician, just because not even like, oh, I get these jokes now or anything. It's just like, oh, I get the idea of the Blues Brothers as like playing the wrong kind of music at the wrong kind of being the wrong band at the wrong venue. Sort of is kind of it's kind of the big just general theme of the Blues Brothers themselves.
KJ Chicago's jumping ahead to a bunch of great scenes. Yes, we are getting all of those. Yeah, Vicky didn't notice. So the next they pick up the Mr. Fabulous. They pick up Mr. Fabulous. Yeah. They have to go get him, but he is the maitre d' at a restaurant called Chez Paul.
See, like that whole scene, how can you not think that that's funny? That's just textbook perfect comedic premise. Just textbook.
I love that restaurant is exactly the same restaurant as the Chicago sit-down fancy restaurant in Ferris Bueller.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No. I mean, it just seems like it. With the white tablecloths, and he's the sausage king of Chicago. It seems like it's the exact same setup. So there must be these fancy restaurants. Like we don't have in Seattle those fancy restaurants, but as much. Everything's super casual here. But
there's like a business casual is kind of the permanent state that Seattle is.
Like Hawaii. Yeah. There's no dress shirts. She was chopping vegetables during part of the movie.
It's a real movie. It's a movie to like sit down and watch. Like there's. It's a real movie.
Read Loki the Siberian's Comet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And what do they want? 5. What was their order? 5 shrimp cocktails.
5 shrimp cocktails. And as soon as they order that, I'm like, oh, that's just silly funny. And then I'm like, they're getting ammo. They're stocking up on ammo.
I was thinking this is exactly what you and your brother Regan would order.
No, you would order one and share, and we would we would throw them into each other's mouths, and we'd lock arms and eat them.
Did you guys take that from this movie? Or is that just your nature is just the same as Jake and Elwood? It's
that.
And they were raised together in an orphanage, and your brother was adopted. So there you go.
And also, he's brown and I'm white, so there's the mixed race thing going on there too.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. He's pointing out that some of the scenes would not make sense if you did not see the previous scenes.
Picking on Vicky.
Vicky, without you here, we would not be having nearly as much fun.
Yeah, we need some sort of.
You are now our straight man.
Yeah.
Straight man now. Did you notice who the waiter was?
Yeah, I wrote down Paul Rubin, right? Yeah. No, or Paul Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, which is perfect.
I don't think I noticed when I was younger. I don't think I did. Because I saw it this time and I was like, oh, hey.
Vicky's our comic foil. She is.
Yeah.
Great man to our jokes about this movie. All right, so now we got to get through some of these scenes more quickly now. We have the Nazis, the cops, and the protesters. There's nothing going on in the world that would make that a timely scene. How do I get through these quickly? Like, how do you even unravel Nazi protesters? I mean,
the thing is, the Blues Brothers solution is to drive through the crowd, too.
Horrifying.
Which is horrifying in real life. In the movie, it's great because for whatever reason, the protesters who have their back turned to the car are the first ones to get out of the way.
That's
Who
true.
knows how that would even be possible?
My friend Camille's in the house. Mueller Husky is here. That's Camille from California. We're talking about the Blues Brothers, Camille. We're about halfway through and talking about the timeliness of a scene where there are Nazis and protesters kind of by a bridge, and
the police are protecting the Nazis.
Yeah, They
The
are.
police are protecting the Nazis from the general public.
Was not so happy about fascism.
Yeah.
Living in Seattle, this doesn't have any significance to anything
No
going on.
significance at all.
None at all. I'm not going to get into it. But at least they were on a bridge. Like I said, no one actually gets hurt in this movie. They all just jump through. But yes, in real life, not funny driving through Nazis.
Yeah, because then the media tells that, you're violent and la da 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 da. Yeah.
So Henry Gibson, I believe, was the head of the Nazis, is the actor that played him.
He did great.
And now we get to one of the scenes that KJ Chicago is talking about, which is the restaurant where Aretha Franklin works.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Oh, no. That's a reference to...
Freddie 504.
Maybe 504 and Slappers. Yeah, maybe 504 is a bass player, and he slaps the bass. And so he makes a lot of reference to Slappers. So, hey, Adrian, how are you? It's good to see you here. Adrian is giving me he gave me a really hard time about, like, I should battle Davey 504. I'm like, no, that's not a thing.
4 fried chickens.
Yes.
4 fried
chickens. White toast, nothing on it, dry white toast, and a Pepsi to go with the fried chickens.
I could probably eat 1/2 of a fried chicken in one sitting.
Oh,
I could eat a whole fried chicken in one day. I'm sure I could do that. But 4 fried chickens, that's not happening.
No, I don't think he thought she was really going to make the order. She was just
it was like code.
And he knew that
and a Coke.
And a Coke. It was Matt Guitar Murphy.
But I noticed that Elwood really does like to just have like one piece of fried toast, of white toast, of dry white toast. He's constantly trying to get toast going.
Dry toast. Yeah.
The whole movie, you just notice they don't. That's what I love about movie is like so much of the comedy is so they don't draw attention to it. And I think Dan Aykroyd's so good of a world builder that all of these comedic details can kind of just be in the background as part of the world building and the character development, the character establishment. So
okay, guys, this is a deep dive. We're at 5 o'clock and we are not even close to finished with this movie. So if anybody needs to go, like, you are allowed to have your life back. You can go pee, whatever needs to happen. But we're having a good time. So we're going to just keep going, even though we don't usually go this long. We just have twice as much to comment on. And it's a 40-year-old movie. We've had time to think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't eat a whole fried chicken. It's too heavy.
What if it was a baked chicken, though?
No, because I eat that baked chicken all the time.
See, I could eat all the pieces except the breast. That takes way too long.
Yeah, see, it's the breast and the thigh. It's just these giant chunks of meat.
But 40 years ago, it wasn't. My older friends in the comments remember how much smaller chickens used to be before they were all GMO'd out.
They probably could have actually eaten a whole fried chicken, but 4 is absolutely absurd and not going to happen.
No. It was a funny order, and they end up doing a musical number, which is Aretha Franklin doing the song Think, which has a tie-in for my geeky friends. Philippa So, who starred as one of the sisters on Hamilton, in the original cast of Hamilton. She got started singing. She's just a year older than you, Caleb, and she got started singing because she would sing "Think" by Aretha Franklin.
It's a great song.
And Hamilton is coming out on July 3rd on Disney Plus.
Oh wow!
They filmed the original cast and it's been sitting in the vault, and it's going to be released then.
Vicky liked the Aretha segment.
Yay!
It was well executed, very well executed.
The sax player was ticked. They made him learn all the choreography while he was standing up on the counter and play at the same time. Yeah. And then it's just his legs.
What about his legs?
You could only see his legs. He didn't need to play at the same time.
Yeah, and also it's a musical. They're probably dubbing over the. He doesn't need to play properly. He can fake it. He knows what faking it but still making it look right would look like.
And what they did was everything was dubbed, everything was lip synced, with one exception was James Brown's performance was the track was behind him, but he was singing live because he couldn't lip sync.
Yeah.
Oh, and Vicky liked the Ray Charles thing. Okay.
I like that Uncle Yukon and I are bouncing back about how much chicken we can eat. He's getting down to the math of it. I have a whole chicken, and I usually tear it apart, and I know that I could eat in one sitting all the legs and all of the wings.
My question for Yukon, are Canadian chickens smaller than American chickens?
Yeah, American chickens, the breasts especially, are enormous. They're basically like 2 breasts, like 2 pairs. It's crazy. Like, you can peel them back and there's a whole other layer, and it's like, geez, they like basically genetically modified this thing to have like 2 extra, like a whole extra layer, and both those layers are huge.
Your Aunt Holly, one day when she was telling us that they were genetically modifying chickens so that they'd have 4 legs because people only like to eat the chicken legs, and we laughed her out of that, and then I looked it up and it was real.
Yeah. Oh.
Costco chicken. All right, moving forward past the chicken.
Okay, past the chicken. We're done with the chicken.
This is what happens when Joel tries to live stream. I just make everything he's talking about food.
Sorry, I eat a whole chicken every week. That's
what
like,
we all eat. So that kind of makes you want to talk about food.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a shot with Carrie Fisher in the Curl Up and Dye hair salon, which is a great name for a hair salon.
Great name. Fantastic name.
She's doing her nails.
Neon. They had a whole like neon display for it too, which was great. A neon sign.
Their meat's tougher from playing hockey. It's the Chicken Chronicles. Poor Joel. I mean, I turned his whole live stream into a conversation about corn dogs, so I deserve this completely.
Okay, I'm going to go to the chicken real quick. I mean, if they're playing hockey too, they probably have some injuries, and everyone knows that an animal that gets hurt before it gets killed, the meat is tougher because, you know, the stress chemicals get sent through the body, and it makes the meat tougher.
I'm picturing chickens.
It's extra tough, the Canadian chickens, I bet.
I'm picturing Canadian chickens with their teeth knocked out from playing. Okay, Ray's Music Exchange. Oh my gosh, we're to Ray's Music Exchange, which is like the best scene, one of the, to me, best scene in the whole movie. I mean, it's freaking Ray Charles, which we talked about Ray. If you want to, this is where I should put a link to me talking about the movie Ray last week. But it's Ray's Music Exchange. She says, okay, KJ Chicago. KJ Chicago, what is your name? I've been talking to you for years. I have no idea what your real name is. Anyway, Ray's Music Exchange, Ray Charles at 47th Street and Prairie Avenue on Chicago's South Side. Chicken do have teeth. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, now chicken have teeth. All right, so, but are they knocked out by hockey pucks? That's the question. Mm-hmm. Ray's Music Exchange is our scene with Ray Charles, and he is doing Shake a Tail Feather, which is awesome. He is the blind music store owner that they come to look at for the instruments for the band. Yeah. And what does Elwood look at instead of looking at musical instruments?
I don't know.
A toaster oven.
Okay, yeah, see? Because he was making toast. He was trying to get his toast started the whole time. Like I said, it's like you just notice these things in the background going on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle. You're Tom. I'm sorry. Steve is Loki the Siberian. My mistake. Sorry about that. Oh, store owner with the big gun. Oh, yes. And this isn't timely at all. He shoots at a small black child who's trying to steal from the floor.
The shot is kind of frightening.
It's horrifying. A blind man.
As a kid, it wasn't frightening to me at all. But
it was hysterical because it's all cartoony.
Yeah, but I'm used to guns not being cartoons. So at this point in my life, so it's kind of freaky, but yeah.
Okay, so Joel's got a question, and I kind of wonder about this. Okay, Elwood Blues and Jake Blues. But the main character in Legally Blonde is Elle Woods. Is that a throwback? Who directed Legally Blonde? Now I gotta know.
Yeah.
Is it? Who's the director?
Well, writer, writer.
Oh yeah.
The name.
No, it's not a throwback. Robert Lutic, so it's nobody. I have no idea why Elwoods and Elwood Blues are related. Anyway, so Ray's Music Exchange, Caleb, you worked in a music store for many years. Did it seem, were there a lot of musicians looking for free instruments, or at least on some sort of credit?
Yeah, and we're like, well, I mean, you can basically apply for like kind of a credit card here and get it that way. Hey, can I go on, like, this is just going to make it longer, but can I go on a tangent about that is relevant to them asking for credit in the movie?
Do it. Go.
Working at a music store, we had someone buy a really nice guitar. I'm not going to go into too much details about it because I don't know.
Work for the company.
Because I work with the company and stuff, but basically they bought this really nice guitar, but they had like a credit card that like had like an LED screen on it, and it was really weird, but they managed to buy it successfully. Everything was by the book, other than that. And we did all our verification before buying it. And then one day I'm opening and I get a call from someone and they're like, hey, like I saw someone, it looks like someone bought something super expensive on my credit card a few days ago from your guys' store, la-di-da-di-da. And it's like, can you, like, basically they're like asking for information on it and stuff. I'm like, this is just a random call from a random person. I can't verify your identity. So I can't like just tell you all the information about this purchase. Talk to the police, file a police report. That's what you're supposed to do. And I got vibes just from the call. I was like, this is weird. And I've never experienced this before. And I'm sure that the person who's calling me right now is the person who bought the instrument. So basically it was that. What they were doing is basically they were trying to buy like as much as they could that was worth money that they could then resell on credit, and then peace. I don't know if they were planning on going to a different country or what, but yeah, so what they were trying to do is that they were trying to get us to refund them the money on their card so that they could have the asset and the money the asset. The only thing is that at least me and most of my all of my coworkers, we're not dumb enough to do that. No. It wouldn't have happened. No. But that's what they were trying to do. They ended up getting caught when they tried to bring a watch that had a serial number to a jeweler to sell in Bellevue. So that's how they got caught. We got the instrument back after the police finished what they needed to do. So yeah, it turned out all good, but it made me think like, dang, if you just were smarter about it and less cavalier, less flagrant, they could have gotten away with it. They could have bought a bunch of stuff on credit, pieced, resold the stuff, and been fine.
Oh my gosh.
If you were to do it, I would do it with like diamonds and jewelry that doesn't have serial numbers, because then there's no way to like track it.
Oh yeah, you gotta use stuff that doesn't have serial numbers.
Stuff that doesn't have serial numbers would be the way to do it.
Yeah, musical instruments have serial numbers.
Yeah, the guy who came in, he was wearing like a big, like he was dressed very. He was an Asian guy, but he was dressed very like hip hop. With like, he had like a gold chain, I think, and like really nice sneakers and a huge cool hat and stuff. And it was like, he was just throwing money around left and right. You know, he was being way too dumb about it.
Wow.
But, yeah.
All right. We have some things.
Oh, I remember. Sorry. I really want to quickly say, when he came in to buy the guitar, so he was like, hey, I want that. He just came in, pointed at this $2,000 guitar and says, hey, I want that. And I'm like, don't you want to like test it out first? Try playing it? It's like it was like,
that's not how a musician
all
buys
the red flags kept coming up, and yeah, he would have gotten away with it if he would have just left the country or something. But yeah, no, he was just dumb the whole time about it.
Yeah. So in the comments, let's see. So KJ Chicago does the quote, which is what Ray Charles says, which is, breaks my heart, a boy that young going bad. Like he knew from his footprints that he was that young. Vicky says, yes, but some people are that naive, dumb. They do fall for scammers, thieves.
Yeah.
It's true. Uncle Yukon says, return the merchandise and talk to the owner manager for a refund. KJ Chicago says, I usually buy my guitars. I have 5 guitars. Yes, buying them is the way to go. Uncle Yukon, he was putting on a show to impress people. Yeah, why would you put on a show to go buy a guitar that you're going to try to scam people on? That's so weird.
No, I would dress similar to this, probably. Boring clothes.
All right. Vicky has to go. Sorry we held you so long. We didn't know this was going to go this long, Vicky. You know I usually get done a little quicker than this. We're having too much fun. Thanks, Vicky. Sorry. We should have saw the movie in the theater. Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, Uncle Yukon, he was just trying to, he was going to try to resell it. That was the idea. Like he was just trying to get a bunch of assets that would be worth a lot of money resale wise.
And get his cash back on his credit card.
And also he was doing dumb on top of dumb too. Yeah. He wasn't trying to play it.
KJ Chicago's a fan of you, Caleb. Caleb is terrific.
Nice.
So cool. Oh, Loki the Siberian would like to know, did you enforce the no stairway rule in your music store?
We did not, no.
Did people play Stairway?
Yeah.
Too much?
People played every trite lick that you've heard.
Uncle Yukon says that he would actually try an instrument before he bought it, and he's not even a musician.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vicky. Sorry I ran so long. This will be on the internet.
KJ Chicago, I did already say that, yes, they did. No judgment, but yes, they did. They caught him. He was trying to resell a watch that had a serial number to a jeweler in Bellevue, and that's how he got caught.
Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah.
Oh boy. But he did get caught. That's good. And you guys got the guitar back.
Yeah.
See, people, when I played at church, they just stole all the music equipment, took it to a pawn shop, and we never got any of it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Are we still at anything else to say?
We're going. Let's go.
We're still at Ray's Exchange, which has the that beautiful Rhodes that Ray Charles played. I love that instrument. We had that in middle school and high school. I loved it. They call it a suitcase Rhodes because the Rhodes it packs up in a suitcase. We had those. That's all we had. We had no other sound. You only had that sort of Rhodes, the theme song to Taxi kind of sound. Do 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 do. You know the way Rhodes sounds. It's so cool.
Yeah.
You should know better than to steal. Yes.
And they were selling it for $2,000 there, and I think that they sell for about that much nowadays too.
Huh. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, a good instrument retains its value.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't make you money, but you don't lose money.
Yeah.
It's like I bought it 5 years ago for $300. How much is it now? $300. There's been inflation.
Yeah.
Unlike if you buy a car and then 5 years from now you've lost $10,000 or $20,000. So they're good investments. Mm-hmm. Well, not investment, but they hold. It's better than furniture. Furniture just gets used by someone else until it dissolves.
They're a good asset.
Yep. All right. So next scene, we're at Howard, and that's got the whole musical number with all of the extras. The outside of out on the street was that street KJ Chicago 23rd.
47th, I think.
Oh gosh, I got it completely wrong. Sorry about that. 47th.
This is quite a bit of scrolling to get. Yeah, 47th Street.
47th Street. And I would like you to note that it was the middle of winter in Chicago when they filmed this. So all of those people who were supposed to be during the summer had to take off blankets and coats and everything to do all the dance numbers, all those extras.
They were moving a lot during that scene. They were really going for it. And I imagine part of it is just it was so cold that it helped probably keep them warm.
One tie-in that's kind of contemporary is those of you who've heard in the news that we have a little thing going on in Seattle where there's some people kind of occupying a neighborhood. And they met with the mayor day before last, I think, to do some negotiations. And they brought in their paperwork for the negotiations. And this is, I get from Omari Salisbury, who works for a small media company. They brought in their paperwork, and their paperwork said, that the Seattle police needed to do this on the south side, which was a dead giveaway, that they had taken someone else's demands for the Chicago Police Department and written them up as Seattle's, because we don't have a south side. We have a south end.
Yeah,
we do not have a south side.
That's funny.
Yes. So that's part of the problems with the Chaz Chop negotiations, is that they're not necessarily built for one particular city.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving right along and getting the heck out of that is KJ Chicago. I don't know if has Lori been in negotiations with folks about stuff about the police department, just like our mayor in Seattle. All right, so Howard Johnson's. They go to the Hojos, and that's where Carrie Fisher has a flamethrower. That's what I have written down. They're at Howard Johnson's, and Carrie Fisher has a flamethrower. Yeah,
this is the first scene that I saw of the Blues Brothers, which is the reason I watched it in the first place. So I was probably in middle school, I think.
Yeah,
I think I was in like 7th grade or something, or 8th grade or 6th. I was in middle school, and there's this dumb show that wasn't very funny called Drake and Josh, and I was just watching it to pass time. But then there was an actually funny part that happened in the show, and it was literally just clips of, they were like, oh, let's watch the Blues Brothers. It's on TV. So like within the show, they're watching the Blues Brothers, and it's that scene, and I'm just dying laughing. My guard's down because I'm expecting the show to not be funny. So then something actually funny happens, and I'm just dying. Especially when they blow up, they fall down, and then they're like, there's like $7 to change here.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, I have to watch this movie now.
Phone booth does not stand the test of time.
There's another one.
Then they go.
So
they show us the Nazis' office. The Nazis say, hey, we've got their address. This is awesome. We're going to go find them. And they end up at Wrigley Field, which was actually in Blues Brothers too. Yeah. So they end up at Wrigley Field.
I think that was fantastic. I like that they set up the joke, but then the payoff for it, they don't make a big deal about. They don't like draw extra attention. The Nazis just are there, and they're like, all right, we got to get these guys.
Yeah.
I like that. It's not like played up or anything. It's just, here they are at Wrigley Field at the wrong place. Here they are.
Yes. Yes. Before we get to the Palace Hotel, though, we do need to stop by Bob's Country Bunker.
Yeah.
Which is their first gig. But it's not really their gig. It's the Good Old Boys, which is an interesting name. Yeah. The Good Old Boys gig, and the Good Old Boys are late, and they steal their gig from them.
Yeah.
The first thing they know that there's something not quite right about the gig is the fact that there's chicken wire in the front of the stage.
It's a great bit.
Which is apparently because the country bumpkins they're playing for like to toss beer bottles. Yes, chicken wire, thank you. Siberian. Yep. Oh, lead singer Tucker McElroy. Okay, I didn't have that noted. Awesome.
Oh, so, are they they're a real band, I take it then.
Or that's the name of the actor. It's probably the name of the actor, Tucker McElroy. I don't know. KJ Chicago will have to give us more information.
Yeah.
So the music on the overhead when they come in is Your Cheatin' Heart.
Yeah.
And so when they take to the stage, the first song they play is Give Me Some Lovin'. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Aaron hates it.
Despises it. It's like the worst thing they've ever heard. They go crazy.
Yeah.
They're so unhappy. They are just like throwing beer bottles and mad and everything. So then they're trying to figure out what to play. And what do they end up playing?
Rawhide.
Rawhide by Rowdy Yates. Is that who does that song? And then they have one other song, Stand By Your Man.
Yeah.
Which they're singing in unison in a girl's key.
But this is where I noticed that Dan Aykroyd is not a great singer, and John Belushi is much better.
Yes, that is true.
He can't hit the notes during that song. Dan Aykroyd.
No. No.
is slightly off because he has to kind of match John Belushi, so it's really obvious.
Yes. And this is where I get to digress into my story. Now, there's 5 people being tortured by our endless live stream. This live stream longer than the actual movie. Anyway.
Hey, no, we're not at 2 hours yet.
Okay, good. So my story about this was that I had a gig in Ocean Shores. It was myself, a short blonde named Marley, and 3 guys in leather jackets and tattooed necks and stuff, and skinny jeans. Now, Ocean Shores, Washington is a very rural area. And it's, if you went to Aberdeen, where Nirvana's from, and you keep going, you get to Ocean Shores right by the water. And we were playing for a group of college students. No one in Ocean Shores, I think, had ever seen anyone in black skinny jeans before, much less a bunch of college students. So they hated us. We would go up and we'd lead these songs, and they're anthems, right? Worship team for Christian music, you play anthems, and everyone sings along on big anthems. Every song's like "Don't Stop Believing," and so you get out there and they hated us. Steve Dooley was our sound guy, so you know the sound was off the hook, but it was also just a wall of amplifiers. There were just speakers everywhere, and they weren't having it. They started sitting 5 rows back. They were not having any of it at all. They hated it. And then we played an old Christian standard called Mighty to Save. That's going back like 15, 20 years. But when we pulled out the old tune, all of a sudden, it was as if we had played Rawhide. Like they started, if they had beer bottles, they would have thrown us happy beer bottles at that point.
Yeah.
They were so happy. And so we learned that we were good as long as we had Mighty to Save in the set. And Marley would be picking the set, and she's like, we're going to play these songs. We're going to play that song. What should we play? And Gio would be like, Mighty to Save. And whatever she said, he would say, Mighty to Save. And so it was the only way we survived the entire gig, is playing Mighty to Save over and over again, because it was the only song they liked. So I have lived that scene, except for that it was 1,000 college students who hated us. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was just nothing but hoodies. We were not a hoodie group. Yeah. Oh, and I had a note, KJ Chicago, that said Kokomo, and I didn't know why it said that. Because Bob's Country Bunker is in Kokomo, Indiana.
Yeah, it's cool. Like
went down to Kokomo.
All the places they go, it seems like, are actual locations throughout the whole movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pretty cool.
So the cops, well, they have to outrun. This is a pay-to-play situation. And people don't understand how bands get into pay-to-play. But they play the gig, and then afterwards, the owner comes to them and says they owe the venue money because he charged them for all the beer.
Yeah.
They owe them $100, $200.
I don't think that they just give you beer. They usually do like the first round or something at the most, right? Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're like friends with them. Because I know venues where if you're friends with them, they'll just give you beer because they're nice. And
tap beer is different than bottled beer. They were drinking bottled beer.
They were drinking bottles, yeah.
That's a big difference. Because if they had a tap and they were pouring them cups, that would probably be free. But bottles, you're paying, man. You're not getting free bottled beer. Okay, we've got some comments. Let's see. Joel,
look at Loki's. This.
I went to see the Rolling Stones Maroon 5 open for them. The crowd turned on them.
I would have turned on them. I would see the Rolling Stones and Maroon 5 gets on, I'd be freaking not happy.
Maroon 5 was so bad at the Super Bowl. Oh my gosh.
Stay on the radio where you belong.
Okay. I don't know what Joel's reference is. Eurovision Fire Saga. Is he talking about the fire thing? I don't know. Good Old Boys Winnebago RV hits a marked Illinois State Police car with troopers and Mountain Daniel in it. Okay, this is my debate about this. So the Troopers are chasing the Blues Brothers. The Winnebago that was owned by the next band, the Good Old Boys, is chasing it with the store owner in it. Who hit who? Did the Troopers hit the RV or did the RV hit the Troopers? That's what I'm not sure about.
I don't remember. It happened so fast.
Yeah, it was hard to tell.
The Troopers are not happy with the RV though.
No, so I'm saying they're going to blame the RV regardless. Oh, the Netflix.
Is
Fire.
that like Will Ferrell or?
No, Fire. It was that it was a concert that never got really pulled off. It ended up with a lot of people just being on an island with no food and stuff.
Different. No, that's
not what he's talking about. Oh,
no, that's something else.
Oh, I'm lost.
No, Eurovision Fire Saga, I think, is like a comedy kind of. Yeah, it's different.
Better write that one down.
Yeah, I wrote it too.
I always write down you guys' suggestions. Always, always. All right, let's see if I can make this move faster. The steam room with the booking agent. He books the Palace Hotel. So we're going to finally get to the Palace Hotel. They refer to it as a hall and as the Palace Hotel. It turns out the entire band is part of those negotiations. They're all in the steam room in the tower.
Yeah.
Just pretty funny. Not to Vicky, but to the rest of us, it was pretty funny. The movers are moving stuff out of the orphanage. Cab Calloway is there. And they have a giant speaker on their car saying that their show at the hotel is $2 a head. Yeah.
Super cheap.
Which means they would need to sell 1,000 tickets. No, 10,000 tickets to make the $5,000 they need.
Why?
They need $5,000 to pay off the taxes on their mission from God.
Yeah, so they need 5,000. It's
oh no, not 10,000. It's 50 cents a people. So 2,500 need to attend.
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, they still need the space and stuff. I don't know.
And they have to pay back Ray, and they need about $10,000. So they need 5,000 people at the hall.
But instead of making that money, they get like $5,000 for a record contract that they don't.
We're not to that part yet.
Okay.
Rory Slime is the booking agent. Isn't that the perfect name?
Wow.
Rory Slime. Yeah, and Cal Calloway's name is Curtis. I had that in my notes and I didn't trust them. Yes.
I did put in my notes that it seems like the more leading musicians seem to be the better actors. And most of the more supporting musicians, like the trombone player and whatnot, are not great actors.
Yeah, the band was
not so much. Yeah.
The band was the band off the album, except for the people that couldn't get out of their contract. Like Paul Schaefer couldn't get out of his NBC contract to come and play, but it was basically the band that they had recorded with, so they were not chosen for acting skills at all.
But yeah, no, I think Cab Calloway, I mean, he was in movies, so
right.
I think he felt very natural. Aretha Franklin was actually really good too.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
So then Twiggy comes to the gas station. They run out of gas and they have to wait for the truck to come with the gas. And the Blues Brothers, the rest of the band, is at the venue. And they and Twiggy, who was a famous model in my mom's time, a long time ago, is there. And Jake is like, not Jake, Elwood's kind of trying to impress her, pretending like he worked there, pumping her gas and stuff. It was pretty cute. So then,
that reminds me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I wrote down that they're kind of dorks because the music they're playing is old music that is not cool and is not hip, even for the 80s, which is 40 years ago now. It's like they're playing music that's so old that even in old times it was not hip and not cool.
That is for the blues.
Grandma.
Care about. So they end up parking the car in the tunnel and sneaking into the venue, walking in time, trying to get into the venue. And then inside the hall, Cab Calloway's trying to buy time because people are actually clap. Oh, Slime, not Slime. Slime was so much funnier.
Slime.
Sorry about that. The people are clapping. They want the show to start. And so Cab Calloway goes out and does Minnie the Moocher. And the set magically changes to his old set from Minnie the Moocher.
And his outfit magically changes.
Yeah, because this movie's like a cartoon.
Yep.
And so it's great. Oh, I didn't mention that John Candy was the head of the troopers, right?
He's hamming it up. He's candying it up the whole time.
Yeah, he liked to be in John Landis movies.
Yeah. You could tell he was just having fun the whole time.
Yep.
And while they're sneaking, they prank the good old boys.
Yes.
So like I made a note that they use epoxy, like an epoxy spray to put the adhesive on the gas. The only thing is that probably would dry before they get there.
Oh, none of it would work.
I think the better, if they use like rat trap goo, you know what I mean? Yeah. That would work. That would have worked. They could have done that and it would have actually worked. It's just that part felt very like Bugs Bunny kind of to me. Very cartoonish.
Yes.
The way that they walk in and do that. And then he's like, glue, strong stuff.
Yeah, it's so cheesy.
So cheesy.
And he just happens to be carrying that in his little suitcase he carries everywhere.
Yeah. With his Cheese Whiz. With the Cheese Whiz for the homeless guy.
Oh, yeah, he had Cheese Whiz for him.
Yeah.
So that's the musical numbers they do. They start with the opener. Dun, 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 and then they do Everybody Needs Somebody, right? I need you. And then they do Sweet Home Chicago, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, they really only do the Blues Brothers themselves only do a very short set. Very short. And then they piece. Well,
because the entire place is full. The entire venue is full of police officers,
with their guns out in the middle of a crowd of this giant thousands of people crowded like hall.
It could happen.
Terrifying.
They do stay extra long to hear the Blues Brothers perform.
Yeah.
And thus not capturing them.
They're butts in seats in a way.
Yes.
All the people who are after them are kind of helping them in a way by being there because I think that they better promotion
and as KJ Chicago, the crowd goes wild for the Blues Brothers, and they do. Yeah. They love the Blues Brothers. They love the whole act, which crowds did go wild for the Blues Brothers. Like when they were on SNL, everybody just loved the whole bit. It was so funny.
Well, they don't go wild for them right away when they show up. They have to earn that.
They earn it.
They have to earn it by being the good performers. So, and then they did.
And when they try to escape backstage, they get caught by a record producer who wants to make an album and give them a $10,000 cash advance on the spot.
And they're like, "Great, we don't even have to wait for the ticket money to get to us. Now we can piece."
So they take the $5,000 to pay the taxes, and then tell him to pay the band and to pay back Ray's exchange, which I love that they paid back the music store. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And so then they try to sneak out, but they run into a little barrier for their escape.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher. She's less than happy that the 7 limousines, all the money spent on the wedding, all the favors taken for nothing.
It turns out that he left her at the altar, that Jake left Carrie Fisher at the altar. And she's bent about it. That's why she keeps trying to blow them up, cartoon style. We got some comments?
Yeah. I was just seeing...
scenes that are coming up.
Yeah, scenes coming up. Yeah.
So, no one expects Carrie Fisher. No. And, she has a machine gun in the tunnel. And she is a really bad aim, because she doesn't hit any of them, just like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And they're all covered in mud and guck from wallowing. And Jake goes into just plain begging. Please don't kill us.
Yeah.
And doesn't she decides not to because he's just so adorable.
Yeah. He takes off the glasses and
he strips off the glasses.
Is that a John Belushi thing? Is his eyebrows being expressive or something?
John Belushi. Yeah.
Okay, so he does the John Belushi thing and she's like, "Aw."
Yeah. because he did that in Animal House too, I think. Remember when I watched Animal House?
Stormtrooper aim. She's got Stormtrooper
aim. Yes, Stormtrooper aim. 2 people agreeing on that. All right, so they get away from Carrie Fisher, and then comes the iconic line.
What is it? 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it! Yeah.
Yes, hit it. That is exactly it. And there is a flash of Twiggy waiting at the hotel to meet Elwood, and she gets stood up.
She's just there, just waiting. Yeah. Oh.
The police call out on their radio. The dispatcher says use of unnecessary violence in apprehension of the Blues Brothers has been approved.
Yeah.
Thus justifying all of the violence that would upset the mayor of Chicago if it was okay, probably. And then we have great chase scenes that are done to what music, Caleb? Does anyone know? Anyone know what music the chase scene?
Well, I mean, when the Nazis,
classical music.
When the Nazis show up, it's Wagner.
Yes. What song?
Fly the Valkyries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's
awesome.
Wagner's German, right? They're Nazis.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. I just thought it was Chase the Wabbit, Chase the Wabbit.
There's some more Bugs Bunny in there.
Yeah, there is some cartoon reference, I think.
Very Looney Tunes.
Now, the engine blows out on, well, they blow a rod in the engine.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're coming up on a half-built off-ramp, or flyover.
Uh-huh.
And they're rear-wheel drive. They're able to stop and pull back, but the Nazis fly past them in their Pinto and go flying off. There was an off-ramp like that in Seattle my entire childhood, like a flyover that they never finished building.
But it was like, blocked off with signage, right?
Right, but if you were in a car chase, they had a movie that was post-apocalyptic, and they used that because it looked like they got halfway through building a freeway and had to stop because of the apocalypse. But what do we have?
2 things. Well, I mean, there's the Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, so I'd say especially when they actually get to the building is when they're 5 stars, because the military starts coming in and flying helicopters and bringing tanks in. And that's very Grand Theft Auto 5 stars. That's what that would look like. Yeah, and then the other thing, did they ever make the Chicago police look bad at the crash chase scene? Yes, because they are just buffoons. The police, everyone chasing them just looks like buffoons the whole time, because they just are constantly crashing into random things and each other like crazy.
And that is when that Nazi car falls from the sky.
Yeah.
And then does a cartoon crash into the pavement.
And then when they come and jump off of the broken concrete over the hole that was created by the Nazi car falling.
Okay, when they end up driving...
very, very Looney Tunes.
When they drive through the Richard J. Daley Plaza, they were really driving through the Richard J. Daley Plaza.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's for real. That is crazy that they got permission to do that. That is insane. I don't know how they got permission.
I have no idea how this movie got.
No one's ever... How did anything in this movie get made? I don't know. How did they do that? They were getting to the office of the assessor of Cook County. That's who they were trying to get to with the money. So that's how they end up all downtown, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the backflip.
Yeah, they do a backflip.
Of course, because that's what cars do.
That's what cars do.
And actually, there was a deleted scene.
Oh,
there's a deleted scene. The car was supposed to be parked next to what?
Like a power plant.
Yeah, and that's how it got its superpowers. But did it matter?
No.
Like a cartoon.
But when they finally get to the building and they park, they get out because the car was shot and it's just been through so much, like going over jumps and stuff. And they finally get to the building and they come out. They start walking, and then the car melts. Essentially, it just breaks open like
Pinata.
like a pinata, like a one of those eggs. The oranges, the chocolate oranges. Like after you smash it and open it up, it's like the car just breaks like that.
My dad had a red Toyota Corolla before Toyotas were even sold here. Like people didn't even know what it was. And when he passed away, we sold it to my Aunt Marion. She drove it for 5 years. We bought it back. I drove it. I swore I was going to pull up to an intersection. It was going to do that. It was just so done. Yeah, it falls apart at the seams. Everything on the car falls off.
Yeah.
The mall was going to be rebuilt, so the movie got permission to wreck it. Yeah, the mall made sense, but how they got permission to go inside of that Richard J. Daley Center, I'll never know. That doesn't make sense. And then all those scenes with those cop cars everywhere, and the crashing and the racing under the L and everything. But they end up going in to go to the assessor's office, and they're being chased. So they keep blocking the door with things that are way too light. So cartoonish.
Yeah.
Everything's way too light that they block the doors with. And then when the assessor's not there, they have to wait 5 minutes. He shows up. Who is it?
Is it Frank Oz?
No.
Who is it?
In the comments, who is the assessor when they get to the assessor?
Is it John Landis himself?
Nope. Who's the assessor? There's a cameo for the assessor. They actually pick him up and put him on the counter and give him the $5,000 and sign for it. And they go to pay the tax bill only to get caught by Chicago police officers, Illinois State Troopers, U.S. Army. But it's after they pay it. And who is the assessor that they're paying the bill? I'm wondering if somebody knows in the comments who the assessor was.
I used to know.
You used to know? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you want any clues?
No.
There's a lag. That's why it takes a second. Even at 4:20, there's going to be a lag. So it takes a second for people to chime in with who they think the assessor was. Everybody. I'm getting nothing. I'm afraid if I give it away. Here we go. Clue. KJ Chicago has it.
Steven Spielberg? What? Seriously?
I recognized him. I was like, that's Steven Spielberg. And I looked it up and it was Steven Spielberg. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
And right as they finish it and they're signing the papers, the thing's in my way. Let me see. They handcuff them and they're surrounded at gunpoint.
Yeah. Which
totally a recipe for friendly fire. If any of them shot, they would shoot through to everyone else. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, they are surrounded by Chicago police officers, Illinois State Troopers, U.S. Army soldiers, the Illinois National Guard. I don't know if there were Nazis. I didn't pay attention. There could have been Nazis too.
Yeah,
I don't know. But they are surrounded. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the amount of cops breaks fire code.
Yeah.
Past occupancy.
Past occupancy of that room, yes. There was an excessive use of force, I think.
Yeah.
Except for that's what it took, because they were unstoppable. Yeah. And then we're to the final scene. We were actually to the end of this movie. Can you believe it? They said it wouldn't happen. 15 minutes shorter than the movie.
There you go.
Maybe. I'm not sure. So what's our final scene, Caleb?
It's them in jail, performing.
Yep. Yeah, what are they performing?
Jailhouse Rock.
Of course. Doom,
yeah.
Doom. It was a very fulsome blues. Fulsome
blues?
Yeah, it felt like that.
Yeah, it felt very much like that.
Oh, and did you know who was one of the prisoners?
I think I used to. What? Who? What?
Joe Walsh from the Eagles.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know why. How long is the Blues Brothers movie?
2 hours, 15 minutes at least.
Oh no, and we're at 1:44. Okay, so they do Jailhouse Rock, and during the credits, Everybody Needs Someone to Love plays.
Yeah.
So we're to the end, Caleb. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it's a great movie. Let me see if there's anything. Well, do you want me to go through my notes and say my
anything you missed? Is there
anything
anything else?
to add to them being kind of dorks? They're wearing white socks with their black suits. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Stop. Please see me. Okay. Da, 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 da. No, that's it. I said everything.
Good.
Thanks, KJ.
Yeah, KJ, we really depended on you for your inside Chicago scoop.
Yeah.
KJ is the one who recommended this movie, and I immediately said, yes, we're doing this movie. Absolutely. Now, I contend that, I don't know, this is the thing. Tell me, do you guys think, is this movie a musical comedy or a comedy about music? John Landis said that it was a musical. I don't know if I'd go that far, because then people are like, yeah, but what about Grease? And what about this musical? I don't know that I'd say it's a musical, but it is definitely a comedy with music. And I think Vicky needs to watch it with us.
Yeah.
I think she might get more out of it then, but I'm not sure. It's dry humor. Dry humor doesn't always hit. There's some people don't do dry humor. But yeah, Vicky missed out, man. Poor thing, she had to be somewhere at 6 o'clock. She's like, I have to go. Like, I never run this long. So thanks, Caleb.
Well, I'm sorry if too long's a bad thing.
Nah, it's fine. It's just, we'll see if anybody watches the replay.
Yeah.
They better get a snack first, right? That's what we were talking about during Joel's, is what snacks we were going to eat.
Precision. I saw when they were the Dream Tones or whatever.
Yeah. Magic Tone.
The Magic Tones. The bass player is playing a Precision.
Oh, it's a Precision. I couldn't tell if it was a Jazz or a Precision. It's a red Precision, right? Fender Precision.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Comedy about music. The comical.
At the end with the credits, it felt kind of Bollywood, where because everyone gets to kind of like separate from the movie itself, kind of like a curtain call, like a play. Everyone's singing and along to the song and kind of dancing, and it felt kind of Bollywood at the end, especially because they showed the crew, like the film, cinematographers and grit and the audio guys and editors, and they're all just dancing and singing. Felt pretty Bollywood at the end.
KJ Chicago's recommending a movie called Stony Island. I will look at it. I just do movies that musicians would like, because there's a lot of inside, like what it's like to be in a band and what it's like to be a musician on this channel. And so that I don't know that movie, so I have to look at it first. But, and I'm not going to announce yet what we're going to do unless somebody has some, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. I will have a I will have a video out this week. It's going to be round wound strings versus flat wound strings, and which do we like better. We're going to talk about the differences between those. And then we're also going to make sure that you watch Dantix on the RFS Dan YouTube channel. He goes live. He's been going live Friday. He's switching it up to Saturdays, but I think this week it's going to be Friday. And it's a trivia game show, so that's good to see. Make sure you check out Joel the Geek. He goes live at 2 o'clock on Sundays and plays Mad Libs and unboxes geek things he's ordered, and shows us the latest comic books, because he seems to buy them every Wednesday. And so we have a lot of fun doing our live streams. Check out Mueller Husky. She goes live about every other weekend, I think. She doesn't have a set time, but you want to check out her channel too. Caleb, do you have anything to promote?
I actually do. I'm in two bands. So I'm playing keyboard in this band called The Moon is Flat. I just joined, a few months ago. So any of the music that you're listening to that they have out now, it's not going to be me on it, but check them out. They're great guys. And we've done the main tracking on an album. So we'll be releasing an album, another album shortly here, and that'll actually have me on it. And then I'm also in another band, Tiny Lion. I play guitar in that band, and we're probably going to be doing recording very shortly here. We have a Facebook page, which has just a little bit of our music, just a tiny snippet of our music on it. And I do recommend people to check it out. I like it. have other stuff soon.
Does The Moon is Flat have a Facebook?
Yeah, it should have a Facebook.
Okay. Tiny Lion and The Moon
Tiny
is Flat.
Lion, Moon is Flat. Yeah.
Those are your 2 projects. That's awesome. Yeah.
Tiny Lion, we just have the Facebook page right now.
Okay.
But Moon is Flat, there's more stuff of theirs out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard The Moon is Flat. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. So it's cool. It's an
Well,
interesting time.
Our new album too, the way we're recording it sounds a lot better than our earlier stuff too. So it's just gonna, when that new album comes out, it's gonna be kind of next level. I'm super excited.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming by, and thanks for making it for an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It kind of went a little sideways. Sorry. There wasn't anything to skip over. There was
It's a 2-hour movie where every little detail is worth exploring. So
I skipped stuff. Like I knew every song that was playing in the background of every scene.
Yeah.
So Dad's cooking dinner. It smells really good. If I didn't say, this is my son, Caleb. That's how we met, as you can tell by the, features. And I'm really grateful for you guys being here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Like this video. The algorithm loves it if you give it a like. Thanks for participating in the chat. It makes all the difference and keeps us on our toes.
Yeah.
It really does help. And I think we're going to end now. So have a wonderful weekend and a happy 4th of July weekend, except for the Canadian. I don't know what you guys do on 4th. I mean, it's still the 4th of July. It's just not your Independence Day, right? It's still have a great 4th. Have a great 5th of July. And I love you guys. Thank you so much. Love you, Mom. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Toodles. All right. I'm hanging up, right?
No, hang on.
Okay.